Namaste friends. Welcome you all for the biology session. In today's class, we can discuss about chapter Living World. That is from First PU Biology, Unit 1, Diversity in Living World. So in this chapter, we can discuss about what are the characteristic features of living being, and we know that generally a variety of organisms, sum total of all organisms which are present, I can say that living organisms, right, range from microorganisms to macroorganisms, which includes under biodiversity and systematics. Then this we can also discuss about the taxonomy. This chapter includes taxonomy and types of taxonomy that will be discussed in the chapter biological classification. But taxonomy, which mainly is a branch of science which deals with identification, nomenclature, and nomenclature and classification. So these are the very important steps in the taxonomy. And to get help for the taxonomy, or you can say that the nomenclature, we're going to use the taxonomical aids. Taxonomical aids. So these taxonomical aids mainly includes the herbarium, zoological parks, and then botanical garden, museum, keys. Botanical garden, museum, keys, and along with that we can also say that zoological parks. So, and in this mainly the taxonomy, which includes the classification, identification, nomenclature, right? In this nomenclature, most accepted nomenclature is binomial nomenclature given by Carolus Linnaeus. Carolus Linnaeus. For ends, we consider him as father of binomial nomenclature. Father of binomial nomenclature. So here, the first thing is very important. That is, how can we consider that a particular the component, or you can say thing, as a living being? So in this we can say that organisms which shows growth, reproduction, and then you can say that the cellular level of organization, metabolism, and along with that we can also consider that the consciousness, which is also called as irritability, or that is, what is it? The consciousness, ability to sense their surrounding environment. So consciousness means ability to sense their surrounding environment. Surrounding environment. So these are the characteristic feature of the living things. But how can we say that a particular organism living or non-living? Living or non-living. So living organisms, which they shows mainly certain features which won't be there in non-living, and along with that, living organisms which have a capacity to the sense their environment. That is what consciousness, metabolism, and then cellular level of organization. Each and every organism in which the cells group together to form, we know that generally cells, tissues, and then finally the organ and organs which forms organ system, organism, and group of organisms which forms, we know that the population, and populations, different populations forms community, and community, you know that generally abiotic and biotic community interaction will be there which forms ecosystem, and finally we can say biome, complete earth where living organisms can survive. So that is why the cells will consider as a fundamental unit of life, from where life starts. One cell first maintain its living environment so that it can interact with other the cell, then it can group with the all those cells, and that will going to form a tissue, and then organ system. So here these organisms, right, living organisms have three very important or shows three very important characteristics. One is they have a capacity to self replicating, cells which are going to divide and self-replicating. Cells divide. If you consider this is a cell, this cell divides. What does that undergo? What is it? The first karyokinesis, division of what is it? The nucleus, and then cytokinesis. Finally leads to formation of two cells. So this in unicellular organisms we can consider that is as cell division. That is cell division, and it also leads to what is that production of two offsprings. Hence we can also consider cell division and reproduction, right? Same in unicellular organisms. Unicellular organisms. Self-replicating one, and self-evolving organism which is going to evolve, and along with that self-regulating. So these are the very important characteristic features where using the self-replicating, evolving, regulating system, right, they're going to they respond to external stimuli, right? Easily they can respond, and we can also say that one is consciousness, response to the stimulus, right? That is why we can say that when any kind of object, or you can say objects, which exhibit by themselves, if they exhibit by themselves without external force or anything, that is, if they exhibit birth, death, birth, death, lifespan, consciousness, all other, which is metabolism, by themselves, then we'll consider those organisms as living beings. So, what are these term will define exactly? Growth. So, growth is structural and numerical enhancement. We can say that first number of cell increases and then structural changes will be there. So, numerical, that is what? The number of cell, numerical and structural enhancement. Structural enhancement. So, because of this, the increase in these number and there is a variation, differentiation of the cell that leads to growth. So, numerical and structural enhancement in any of the object, or you can say in an organism, is called as growth. But this generally we can also see that where accumulation, right, where there will be accumulation of particles, or you can say compounds or content over the external surface on the non-living. In case of generally the soil or sand accumulation, right, it forms the or which increases the volume, right. So here we can say that it is like growth only, that is number and volume is increasing here. So we can't consider generally the growth as a defining property of life. So it will be there only in living things. No, it is also the same external the growth will be there in non-living the compounds. For this growth, right, if growth, we can say that if it has to occur, mainly it depends on two process of metabolism, catabolism and anabolism. If catabolism is more than anabolism, there will be degrowth. If anabolism is more than catabolism, then there will be normal growth. So hence this is very important. Anabolic process should be more, where you can say that the catabolism is a destructive metabolism and then anabolism is constructive metabolism, where energy will be synthesized to build, or you can say that where reactions build large biomolecules from smaller ones. So in plants, growth is indefinite, right. So throughout their life there will be growth. That is why we will say indefinite. Throughout their lifespan there will be growth. And in case of animals, it is not like that. It is restricted to a particular age, or you can say that occurs to a certain age, hence it is definite. So growth is not defining property. Same like that, defining property not the defining the property of life. Why? Because, right, you can say that the external growth, right, or you can say that living dead organisms does not grow, right. And even in the non-living organisms like mountains, growth is extrinsic, but in living organisms growth is intrinsic. So in living organisms growth is intrinsic inside the body, whereas in non-living growth is extrinsic. And same like that, reproduction. Not all organisms can reproduce. Like you can say mule, right? Hinny, they can't be able to reproduce even though they are living organisms, right? They are infertile. Or you can say in case of human being also infertile, what is it? The human being, right? But they are living, they can't reproduce, hence the reproduction is not the defining property of life. What is that reproduction? Organism, right, which produces young one, right? The process of production of young one. And same like that, metabolism, right? Yeah, some total of all reactions which takes place, right, in a living system, we consider as some total of all chemical reactions which takes place in our body, that is metabolism. There are two types, anabolism and catabolism. In metabolism, right, mainly all plants, animals, fungi, microbes exhibit metabolism, but no living organisms, you can say that no non-living organisms, non-living component or objects that can be able to show what is that metabolism, only seen in living organisms. Hence it is the defining property of life, defining property of life. And cellular level of organization, each and every organism, right, consists of cells and their products like organelles and other the compounds, chemical compounds in the cytoplasm, so that they are going to interact. Whenever we are going to say that in vitro, outside the medium, in vitro, assume that in test tube we can perform metabolism, but if it is, what is it, the non-living, we can't be able to consider it as a metabolism in vitro, outside the medium or outside the body. That is what isolated metabolism reaction, right, in vitro or not, what is it, the living things. So in this you can say whenever we will perform, these are the non-living reactions, non-living reactions. So but not living things, right? So when outside the body, when metabolism takes place, right, in the non-living organisms, in the non-living organisms, we can say that they are not living things, but these reactions are living reactions, right? In vitro means outside the body, non-living, what is it? These are non-living things, but reactions are living reactions. So next, in this very important thing, so we know that binomial nomenclature and taxonomy, right, which includes three, what are the important steps, right? Classification, identification, nomenclature. Classification, that is arrangement of organisms into a convenient categories or groups, right? So classification, where we are going to arrange those organisms, right? Here it involves hierarchy, right? Just we can take that in case of classification, right? So we are going to arrange the organisms, right? What is a hierarchy? The arrangement of organisms in which we can say that the categories, or you can say different ranks or taxon, right, in this series, that is species, genus, family, order, class, phylum, and next kingdom. So this is highest rank in the hierarchy, and this is in the lowest rank, or that these categories, arrangement of categories, right, arrangement of categories, right, one above the other, right, in series, that we can say hierarchy. In increasing order, when we're going to arrange this here, number increases, number of organism increases, and similar characters decreases, similar characters decreases. Number of the organism increases, but similar characters decreases. Same like that, when you move from the kingdom to the species, number of organism decreases, but similar characters increases. Characters increases means this is ascending, and this is, in case of ascending, right, when you move from species to kingdom, right, move from species to kingdom, species towards kingdom, number of species increases, number of similar characters decreases. When you move from kingdom to species, number of organisms, or you can say number of species, right, decreases, similar characters increases. Point to be noted. Next, binomial nomenclature. So here, to name the organism, the fundamental thing is that mainly to have the uniform name, or to standardize, standardize throughout the world with common name, that is scientific name. We can't be able to use the local name, right? Instead of using that local name, right, better to use that is scientific name, where it will be the completely uniform throughout the, and here always these names, scientific names, which will be the derived from, you can say that the Latinized, and if it is written, right, if you consider Homo sapiens, right, one word gap should be there, and along with that two is genus and species should be underlined separately, and first letter of the genus should be capital, and you can say species should be small letters, should be with small letters. And here sometime we are going to represent the author name in the capital letter. So that is this completely, we can consider binomial epithet. Binomial epithet. So this is very important thing. And next, well, if it is typed, it should be in, it should be italicized, or you can say it should be in italics. So these are the rules of binomial nomenclature. So systematics, it is a study of diversity. What is that? Generally in this case, systematics, important thing you have to keep in mind, that is study of complete diversity of organisms, and all their comparative and evolutionary relationship. Study of diversity and all their comparative and evolutionary relationship. Comparative and evolutionary relationships. So that is based on, we can say, we can use anatomy, comparative ecology, right? So comparative anatomy, study of internal structure, comparative morphology, comparative ecology, and then comparative physiology, comparative is biochemistry. So based on this, we can study these organisms and can be categorized, right? So these are the factors. The term given by Carolus Linnaeus, systematics term given by Carolus Linnaeus. Nomenclature, we know that to standardize the name of the living organism, instead of using the local or vernacular language, started using scientific name. So here there is one authority which helps in that, ICBN, right? International Code for Botanical Nomenclature. That is ICBN, International Code for Botanical Nomenclature. Same like that, there is ICZN also, that is International Code for Zoological Nomenclature. So we know that generally the hierarchy, that is the study of organisms which will be classified, right, into each group or category. That each group or category is called as, each groups or the categories in the hierarchy are called as taxon or rank. Taxon or rank. So in this hierarchy, we know that generally these arrangement of these categories in a sequence is termed as taxonomic hierarchy. So that is very important. So species to kingdom and kingdom to species, you may get this question: what happens to the number and similarity, and by now taxonomical age. So here in the taxonomical age, right, we have herbarium, taxonomical age, that is we have very important, what is it, the age means these are the attributes, right, articles. Age means, taxonomical age means forms or attributes, forms, or we can also say that the articles, right, which help us to classify the organism. Herbarium, I think we are all familiar with this, that is the storehouse of collected plants. Storehouse of collected plants. And here, what is it, the one very important thing, that is the largest herbarium is Royal Botanical Garden, present in Royal Botanical Garden in England at Kew. So here where the plant specimens will be stored, right, with their descriptions on their sheets. So they will going to name, and they will provide a scientific name and date of collection, along with that the author, that is who gave scientific name, and local name they are going to name. If you consider this as a herbarium, they are going to preserve a plant specimen. So collected plant specimen. Herbarium is a storehouse of collected plants, plant specimen. So it will be unfold properly, and these will be arranged, that is the plant will be pressed and preserved. So that is where you can say that generally the collection will be there, in this collection, drying, and then pressing, right? So properly they are going to press. So next, in this, mainly what is the significance of the herbarium? Helps in, it can be used, those the herbarium sheets can be used in research purpose, right, research programs, and it also helps to preserve plants. You can preserve the plants, right, along with that, which provides information about, generally information about each and every plants, right, information. Some are, we can say that the best nutrition with best nutrients, nutritional value will be there, nutrient plants, nutritional plants, and along with that some are what is it, the which will be used in Ayurveda. So we can know about that, what is it, the, in this case. And second, botanical garden. So in this botanical garden, right, we can see where collected living plants, or you can say which there is a collection of living plants will be there, so that which will be help us to study the how exactly the growth and development takes place. And in the zoological park, same like that, zoological parks, or you can say zoo, that is in situ actually. It is, you can say zoo is in situ, that will be under the control of what is the human being or human care. Here also zoological park is also under the control of what is it, the human only, where they are going to what is it, they protect. This is very important, they are going to protect. It is a protected area, right, protected area, or you can say that enclosed space where wild animals will be protected, or you can say that live kept under, that is human care. So wild animals, right, not domesticated animals. So one such park is National Zoological Park, where we can see that these wild animals. And keys are generally the scheme, right, or you can say taxonomical aid which used in identification of plants and animals based on what is it, the contrasting characters, based on contrasting characters, right, which are called as, those contrasting characters are called as couplets. So these are the things. And in case of this, generally the one more, these couplets, and each statement in the couplet which will be called it as lead. Each statement is called as lead. Museum. In this museum, generally, what is it, there will be a both what is it, preserved plants and animals. Preserved plants and animals. So let us take related to this question. Dash is the branch of science dealing with identification, nomenclature and classification. So easily you can remember that INC, right? So that is the taxonomy, which comes under taxonomy, branch of science which deals with identification, what is that, nomenclature and taxonomy. So that is, answer is D. Morphology means study of external, what is it, features, study of external features. Anatomy, study of internal feature, internal feature. It may be, you can say, complete organism or organ, internal. Ecology, that is study of ecosystem, study of ecosystem. So answer for that is taxonomy. So in a taxonomic hierarchy, family is interpolated, so that you can write that S, G, F, does it, the order, right, class, phylum. So family is interpolated between order and genus, right, in between. That means it is present in between. So in between order and genus. If they're going to ask, right, class is interpolated between phylum and order, and genus is interpolated between family and species. So that is why one mnemonic you can remember, right, safeguard force, right, order, CP, anything, central police, to kill most dangerous, or you can say that the terrorist. So that is what, just to remember that. So that is order and genus. And next, this ascending and descending arrangement of taxonomic category. So that is what, just we discussed that species to kingdom. Kingdom is at the top rank, and this is the lowest rank. Highest rank and this one is the lowest rank. So that is called as hierarchy, right? And key is generally taxonomical aid or a scheme, right? Next, basic unit or smallest taxon, right? That is species. ICBN, International Code for, it is not biological nomenclature, wrong, botanical nomenclature. Code of Botanical International Class of Biological Nomenclature, wrong. And then International Classification of Biological Nomenclature, wrong. So same like that we can expect here ICZN, International Code of Zoological Nomenclature. So answer for that is C. Who wrote Species Plantarum? So with 3 books written by Carolus Linnaeus. One is Philosophia Botanica, in which he has explained all those principles of nomenclature, right? Principles of nomenclature. And what is it? The Species Plantarum, where he described some 5,900 plants, Species Plantarum, right? In which he, what is it? The name of plants here, he described the plants. So that is what we can say, Carolus Linnaeus, right? Linnaeus, Species Plantarum. And one more, Systema Naturae, one more book written by him is Systema Naturae, right? So in which he explained that some name binomial nomenclature is done for those animals, right? Taxonomic category below the level of family, same like that you can take that SGF, and that is below the level of SGF class. If it is below the level, above the level, that is above the level of genus, below the level of class. So that is A. 2 animals belongs to same kingdom but different classes. So SGF class, phylum, order, phylum, kingdom belongs to same kingdom but different classes, right? They may belongs to. So in this case, easily you can say that, right? If it belongs to different class, definitely they belongs to order, and those order belongs to phylum, right? So here 2 animals belongs to same kingdom but different classes. So classes group together to form the order. So that is we can select order. Or we can also say that phylum, but different orders belongs to same phylum. So that is keep in mind. Birds and aves taxonomically represents. So birds we can also, what is it, the term as aves, right? These are belongs to the, generally represent a rank, taxonomical rank, that is class. Same like what is it, the mammals, right? The mainly the chordates, that is fishes, which comes under Pisces, amphibians, reptiles, aves and mammals. So there are, what is it, in chordates there are 5 different classes, that is class. Which of the following has a least similar character? So when you move from, what is it, the species to kingdom, similarities, is it, decreases. So SGF order CP. So in this species there will be a sharing characters more, genus, and then family, and then class. So in case of class, very less similar characters. Here completely least, here more similar, completely similar characters. Next, as the column 1 and 2, botanical garden, right, where they're going to preserve, what is it, the plants, that is, means we can't say preserve, that is, they're going to take care of living plants. Zoological park, they're going to take care of living wild animals under human care. Museum, preserve both plants and animals. Herbarium, preserve. So A3, B4 C1 museum, that is C2 and D1. So here the answer for that is B. Basic unit upon which a system of classification are based. So lowest rank on which the basic unit, that is species. Which term can be used for any taxonomic rank? So rank can also be called as taxon. So ranks, taxa. Rank, taxa. So answer for that is taxon. Next, read the following statement and select the correct one. Increase in mass and increase in number of individual or twin characteristic of growth. That is, we can say unicellular organisms. Correct. Metabolic reactions can be demonstrated outside the body. That is what? Isolated. That is in non-living environment, or you can say non-living condition outside the body. In vitro. Keep in mind, in vitro, outside the body. In vivo, inside the body. Response to stimuli, defining property of living. Correct. All are correct. So 1, 2, 3. So all these statements are correct. Select correctly written botanical or zoological nomenclature. Homo sapiens, genus name is capital, that is correct, but species wrong. Panthera tigris, it is type. If it is written, it should be underlined separately. This type, it should be in italics. So Pisum sativum. Pisum sativum. That is a scientific name of garden pea. So correct answer is 15. So Linnaeus described 5,900 species of plants in his book. Right, the book that where he described plants, that is species Plantarum. And where he described the animals, something 4,326 animals, that is in his book Systema Naturae. So answer for that is Philosophia Botanica. No, here he explained the principle of nomenclature, genera Plantarum. It is not written by him. Historia Naturalis. No, species Plantarum. Wrong. That is written by, what is it, the Historia Naturalis, written by some other, what is it, the nomenclature maybe John Ray. Right. Systema Naturae. Correct. Species Plantarum. So according to this, we can also say this is correct, but that is not with respect to this question. So plants, first species Plantarum and then Systema Naturae. Answer for that is D. Right. So which of the two given points are known as twin characteristics of growth? We know that increase in number. So increase in cell number, increase leads to increase in mass. We can consider increase in number of individuals. In unicellular organisms, we can say both 1 and 2. So this is the answer. So these are wrong. Next, study the following statement and select the correct one. Herbarium is a storehouse of collected plant specimen, dried, pressed and preserved on sheets. Correct. That is what herbarium sheet. Flora provides an index to the plant species found in particular area. That is what? So total number of plants present. So total number of the plant species present in an area, that is provided by flora. Right. Monographs, these are the different types of taxonomical aids used to get information only on one taxon, that is related to a particular, it will be only on particular species. So all these are correct. So with this we can conclude this part. Will continue on the next class. Thank you.